Our board meeting. We've had a couple of meetings already. I'd like to ask the audience if you would join us, please, to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a special recognition, but before I do that, I just want to recognize some students who are here at two different tables. They're from Lindenwood College. We appreciate you being here. Are all of you looking at being teachers is wonderful. I know at least one's a Parkway West grad. But we welcome all of you back here at the Parkway system, should you so desire. Thank you for being here. Our special recognition tonight, we are recognizing an outstanding Parkway teacher. I know this from personal experience because this teacher taught my child twice and made a big difference in the math that he was able to learn in high school. We're pleased that everyone could join us at this board meeting this evening to recognize her. And I'd like to ask Jennifer Profit, our high school interdisciplinary curriculum coordinator of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, to come to the podium. Thank you, Jennifer.
President Jacob, members of the board, Dr. Marty, and Mrs. Stover. Tonight we recognize and honor Ruth Knapp, math teacher at Parkway West High School. Ruth began her career in the year 2000. During her years of service, Ruth has worked on countless committees, supported teachers as the K-12 math coordinator, and participated in many organizations at both the state and national level. In the fall of 2009, Ruth earned national board certification in adolescent and young adult mathematics, and in the spring of 2010 was named Parkway West Teacher of the Year, Parkway High School Teacher of the Year, and Parkway School District Teacher of the Year. She is a friend and mentor who is cherished by both teachers and students. To use a mathematical term, this summer, Ruth's accomplishments grew exponentially when she was named by President Obama as a recipient of the prestigious Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. This award is given annually to outstanding K-12 science and math teachers from across the country. The 108 winners were selected by a panel of distinguished scientists, mathematicians, and educators following initial selection process at the state level. This year's awardees were composed of 7th through 12th grade teachers from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, U.S. territories, and the Department of Defense Education Activity Schools. Ruth was given a $10,000 award from the National Science Foundation to be used at her discretion and attended an awards ceremony at the White House where she was able to shake the president's hand. Ruth, tonight we celebrate you achieving this amazing honor, and we want to thank you for all you do for Parkway parents, teachers, and students.
I told Ruth that she needs to share with everybody a little bit about her experience at the White House, because I don't know how many people will ever have that experience. So she said she would say a few words about her experience in Washington, D.C.
I got 12 days notice, so when Obama says, hey, you got 12 days, then you just like rearrange your schedule. So we were supposed to be in Canada with my family and flew in, did some sightseeing, and then we had a couple of days of professional development and some activities with the National Science Foundation. They're wonderful people. And then the kind of big day was on Friday, and very excited to go to the White House, and couldn't sleep. We had I don't know, getting into security was about an hour and a half, got sniffed by a dog, had to say your name at 3 different checkpoints with your ID, wear all these different kinds of badges. It was, and I mean, you get it, but it's just very overwhelming, and you're like, wow, I'm at the White House. And then after some professional development during the day, they brought us over to the White House. We went into the East Room. We lined up on risers. The president was running a little bit late, so we were served water in glasses by people in tuxedos with napkins. And then the president just walked in this, kind of side door. My heart skipped a beat, and there you were, regardless of your political persuasion, there you were in the room with the President of the United States, and so many people never get that opportunity. So it was just, he was very genuine, he was very authentic, you didn't feel like he was being handled or that his comments were prepared. I mean, you thought that he really meant kind of all the words that he said to us, and then we all got to shake his hand and kind of be the historical presence of being in the East Room where Teddy Roosevelt, boxed, and then once he left, then we got about 10 minutes where we were able to go into like the Red Room and the Green Room and the dining room where they all had state dinners, and so that was my time at the White House. It was a pretty neat day. They were not allowed to come. No, they weren't. There were some other. We had an awards assembly at the Reagan building, and so my family, my husband, my sons, and then my mother was able to come, so that was kind of a neat deal. So they were able to come to that, and then my husband was able to come to a dinner and to a breakfast as well. So yeah, that was an unexpected trip for Team Knapp this summer. So thank you very much for tonight's recognition. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, that's quite an honor for her and for us. I know if I had to go through that, telling my name 3 times, by the third one I'd say I'm just some lucky schlemiel that is here at this great house. But we're very proud of Ruth, and it's not just this honor, but all the students that she impacts at West over the years has been pretty fantastic. 6.0, additions, corrections, modifications to the agenda. There are none. 7.0, citizen statements. We will begin with, I have several here that have signed up. If you would help us by saying your name and your address when you come up, you'll have 3 minutes. And we'll begin with Ben Gleason.
Good evening, Mr. Jacob, board members, Dr. Marty, Mrs. Stover. My name is Ben Gleason. I'm from 501 Kenilworth Lane, Baldwin 63011. So I do want to thank you for your service to the students of Parkway and for allowing me to speak tonight. I've been involved in Parkway for most of the last 40 years, starting in kindergarten back in the 70s, graduating from West High as a former member of the special education staff, and now as a parent of 3 children in the Parkway School District. In those 40 years, the district has grown and evolved, as we all know. As scientific evidence about teaching, reading, and math has changed, the curriculum and instruction have changed and evolved as well. How I was taught to read isn't the same as how today's students are taught to read. Similarly, scientific evidence about sexual health has also changed. Therefore, it's appropriate that the district would revise the sexual health curriculum, and I applaud the district for taking on this task. As I understand it, the proposed sexual health curriculum, including information on LGBT issues and sexual violence, seeks to present medically accurate, age-appropriate information in a factual and respectful way. Providing this information, I believe, is crucial for our children for a couple of reasons. One, it's important to give our students accurate information so that they aren't left to learn about these issues through media or other questionable sources. That's in addition to the education we provide as parents in our own homes. Second, it's important to acknowledge, for example, LGBT issues, since we have LGBT students in our families and in our schools. We already acknowledge other variations in the human experience, such as students who have differing physical or cognitive abilities, or the differing experiences of Black and white students. Why would we deny the existence of LGBT people by excluding them from our curriculum? To deny the presence of LGBT students and the issues related to that in our community is in some way denying their personhood. This, of course, is unacceptable. Finally, the proposed curriculum emphasizes the importance of treating others with respect. I think most parents want their children to be acknowledged and to be treated with dignity and respect. Bullying and teasing have no place in our schools or in our community. The curriculum doesn't advocate or promote sexual activity, gender identity, or gender expression. What it does advocate is treating others with respect, even if you don't agree with someone's viewpoint. Treating others with respect is a cornerstone of our democratic society, and it's crucial to creating caring school communities. Pardon?
I'm sorry, we're at your 3 minutes.
Okay, then I will stop and I'll send you some emails.
Appreciate it very much. If I get a name wrong here, forgive me. I think the next one on here is Sarah Crawford. Did I get that right? No? Miss Crawford.
Sarah Garwood. My last name is
Oh,
Garwood, G-A-R-W-O-D.
Yes, okay.
And my address is 63 Meadowbrook Country Club, Baldwin, 63011.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, board members, Mr. Jacob, Dr. Marty, and Ms. Stover. So I'm a pediatrician, and I specialize in adolescent medicine. So in my job, I've worked with many people that are in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community. And I want you to know that I fully support this curriculum. And I also want you to know that so does the rest of the mainstream medical community. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, the American Psychological Association, the Endocrine Society, just to name a few. I think it's also really important that we acknowledge that transgender students, about 68% of them experience bullying and harassment in schools. The numbers aren't quite that high, but they're pretty close for lesbian, gay, and bisexual students. And we know that this leads to devastating mental health consequences. About 40% of transgender people will eventually attempt suicide. And let's not be confused. This is not because being transgender somehow makes you more likely to commit suicide. It's because of systematic and institutionalized stigma and discrimination that transgender people face. A society that leads to a suicide attempt rate of 40% is inhumane. And we change that and we fight against that through education. So while I don't think this curriculum goes far enough, I understand that some kind of compromises had to be made. And I will continue to fight for even more sweeping changes, just as hard as people are fighting that we not change anything at all. So I think Parkway is doing an excellent job. I applaud the entire work group that's put together these changes. I think it's a step so much in the right direction. And I really, really hope that you will vote for this curriculum when you have the opportunity. Thanks.
Mr. James DeLuca.
Hi, I'm a little nervous. My name is James DeLuca. I live at 634 Princeton Gate Drive in Chesterfield. I am a Parkway alum. I also work for Parkway, and I have 3 students currently enrolled in Claremont. In my job for Parkway for the past 21 years, I have worked in literally every at-risk and alternative ed program offered at the middle school and the high school. So I think it's fair to say I'm very familiar with kids who have been living on the fringe. Anyway, I would like to begin with a thought experiment. I want you to think back over the milestones of your own life and specifically about your relationships. Think back to the heartbreaks of high school, the insecurities of middle school, and then to the excitement of elementary school when you first realized there were other kids who brought out new and special feelings in you. And as you think back, I want you to remember the moment when you decided to be heterosexual. And now I want you to think back a little further to when you first decided to be a little boy or a little girl. Of course, you don't remember those 2 moments because they never happened. It was never a choice, was it? You didn't choose. You just were who you were, and you did the best that you could. There were tears and heartache, successes and failures. You got teased, and you probably did some teasing. Friends and relationships came and went, but always you did the best that you could. Now imagine you are amidst all the physical, emotional, and hormonal upheavals of adolescence. I want you to imagine that you are even more different now. Not because of what you have done, but because of what you feel about yourself and how you feel about others. Fortunately, your school is well equipped to help you better understand who you are and what is happening to you. At every level, your school teaches about relationships, how to stay healthy, how to stay safe, and how to be happy. Well, except not for you. You are too different. You are so different we can't even talk about you or acknowledge your experience. We can't talk about you because we are afraid that if we do, it will encourage other students to be like you. And we don't want other students to be like you because we don't like what you represent. Who you are is wrong. That line of thinking is disgraceful and morally indefensible. It is also the foundation upon which most of those who oppose the curriculum rest their arguments. It is unconscionable to negate humans, children, because of what they feel and who they are. And make no mistake about it, refusing to acknowledge them, even if only within the confines of an abstinence-based comprehensive health curriculum, is exactly what you are doing. You are negating those children. And if you choose not to support and protect these children in this very limited way, then Parkway's mission statement needs to be rewritten, because as it reads now, it would be a lie. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rob Wilde?
Thank you. My name is Rob Wilde. I live at 337 Greenbrier Lane in Baldwin. I have 3 children at Claymont Elementary School and a son at Parkway West Middle. I'm here to talk about the health curriculum and represent the perspective from higher education. I have devoted my career to being an administrator in higher education. I'm currently an Associate Vice Chancellor for Students at Washington University. And I applaud the board for considering these important changes related to gender identity in the new health curriculum. These changes, as the other speakers have said, are important for the health and safety of our children and are based on our current scientific understanding of gender. Our priority as a Parkway community should be the well-being and future success of every single one of our students. And we want our students to be healthy, we want our students to be safe, and we want our students to feel supported. I have devoted my career to working with college students and the faculty and staff who educate them. Every day I work with talented young adults, college students with bright and promising futures. But college can be hard. Some of our young people struggle, and occasionally they fail. One of the most well-documented challenges facing college students today are the issues associated with mental health, namely depression and suicide. There are many reasons a college student can struggle with depression. Sometimes depression happens when a person faces questions about their gender identity or their sexual orientation. When we push individuals, especially young people, to conform their gender identity to their biological sex, we can do irreparable harm. I'm not going to repeat the statistics that Dr. Garwood just cited, but there are many statistics to support this. If you were to ask my colleagues in higher education, counselors, faculty, and those responsible for the health and safety of our students, what we can do as a community to better support them and lessen incidents of depression and suicide, they will tell you that improving education related to gender identity in our middle and high schools is a critical step in the right direction. I know all of us are here because we love our children and we care about their future. This proposed change to the Parkway curriculum is the right thing for us to do together for our children and for our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michelle Hoberman? Hope I got that right.
Hi, my name is Michelle Hoberman, and I live at 1515 Mason Hill Court in Town and Country. I have 3 kids in the Parkway system, 2 at Mason Ridge and 1 who has just entered Parkway West Middle. My daughter, for the first time in her life, experienced discrimination. but not by the students, by her teachers. And I find this unacceptable. Information about a play, about a musical, was given out on one day only, on Rosh Hashanah, and where my daughter was obviously not at school. And when I asked her about the information, she said, well, I don't know. He hasn't spoken to me about it. And I called the teacher to get the information for her to sign up, and he said, well, I just wasn't aware. After speaking with the principal of the school, she made it very clear she absolutely gives all of the information out to every teacher, and it is up to them to absolutely take hold of that and make sure that all kids are included. Following up, the drama teacher did not give the same information to my daughter or to me that was afforded to the other kids, and therefore she was unprepared. And this isn't just happening at Parkway West. I'm hearing it from other parents as well, and it's very concerning and heartbreaking that in 2015 our children have to face something that they really shouldn't ever have to face. And she doesn't understand it. And this isn't also happening just with the Jewish population. It's happening with Muslims, Seventh-day Adventists, and other minorities. You know, it'd be like giving a test on Christmas, where it's just not fair to do. And so I would encourage some equal process to be maintained throughout all Parkway to instill in these educators how important it is to recognize people of different faiths and make a change in our system so that people don't feel left out. And I'll be here to follow up and see if things are changing. Thank you.
Thank you, too. We appreciate that. Next would be Levine.
It's Leba Levine, 1910 Kings Row Manor, and I have one who is a senior in college and one who is a senior at Parkway North. And I'm here in support of Michelle, and because I'm one with older children, I know that this has been a concern with holidays for many faiths and many cultures in the Parkway District. It is a fabulous district with an array of many different faiths and many, many cultures. The calendars are out there for, right now it's like a Hallmark, everything is out there. So these holidays and these events are calendared. They just have to be treated with tender loving care and put into the district calendar at the beginning of the year. And as all holidays change, especially for Muslim and Jews, our calendar year changes each year. So the days are not the same each year. So I'm just basically standing here to be a visual reminder that that calendar needs to be looked at. And when my kids are gone out of the Parkway District, I'll still be somewhere around and making sure that it's adhered to.
Thank you very much. Susan Jack.
Good evening. My name is Susan Jack, and I live at 636 Savannah View Way in Town and Country, 63017. I would like to ask the school board why it has taken 7 years to be able to fix the religious holiday issue. Now, religious holidays are an excellent way for a community to be able to come together, for children to be able to feel as if they are loved, supported, and being able to celebrate with their friends and family in the religion of their choice. I would ask the school board why it has taken such a long period of time for those children to be able to celebrate with their families and friends and not be penalized for it. I await your answer. Thank you very much.
Much. And Edward Winehouse.
Good evening, Edward Winehouse, property owner at 102 Ladue Air Drive, Creve Coeur. I'm an adjunct professor at Washington University, and I run a management consultancy. I removed my children from the district after your mishandling of Hit a Jew Day in 2008. I'm going to ask the same question today as I did then. Will the adult in Parkway please stand up? I read Michelle's Facebook post, who just spoke, on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. The posts were forwarded around multiple times by multiple people. Michelle writes, "It is 100% unacceptable in this day and age for a child to have to deal with religious persecution. So far, 3 teachers at Parkway West Middle," that she describes specific incidences, and she finishes with, "Shame on you, educators." Michelle calls it religious persecution. Look over the last 7 years since Hiddah Juday. Look at what happened to Justin, one of the Hiddah Juday victims, as reported in the Jewish Light. Just months ago, Justin tried to stay in the Parkway West Middle environment, but he couldn't. The district made promise after promise. No doubt Parkway wants parents such as Michelle to believe the district will handle it again. With whose help? Same leaders that failed this community since Hiddah Juday? Will the adult willing to take some responsibility at Parkway please stand up? 7 years ago, I presented this school board with a petition from more than 200 parents and taxpayers calling for an investigation into Hiddah Juday. What little we learned before your stonewalling was shocking. I will leave it on the public record for an adult at Parkway who is willing to take some responsibility to learn from. Parkway West Middle teaches that the Germans were not responsible for the Holocaust. A teacher knew concurrently Jewish students were being targeted on Hiddah Juday. A district employee was aware of the plan for Hiddah Juday 3 days prior, and yet no adult at Parkway stood up to take responsibility. Again, I ask, will someone, an adult, please stand up and take some responsibility? Will it be Ms. Feldman, who called me and yelled at me for finding out this information and instructed people how to unsign a petition? I ask, was rallying troops to fight your accountability 7 years ago directly responsible for the recent behavior of Parkway teachers? I have the email. If so, will you be the person at Parkway who stands up and takes some responsibility? I volunteer helping Parkway Spark student entrepreneurs. I'll be glad to help you if asked. But please, just make sure the adult who does ask stands up and takes responsibility to fix it. Fix it. Thank you. I'm presenting a Freedom of Information Act request, which I will follow up on.
Doesn't go to me, it goes to Mrs. Snowden.
Thank you very much. We thank each one of you, and you will receive a letter in response, and we appreciate you making these comments tonight. I think we'll take just a quick break and then get back to the meeting.